Hello, today we're using SketchBook Express to recreate the Drawing Lines poster. First, let's review the SketchBook Express icons. Please repeat the name of each one after me. Gallery. Add new sketch. I for information. Undo arrow. Redo arrow. Brush editor. Draw styles, free draw, line tool, rectangle tool, circle tool, symmetry tool, text, transform, layers. If you just got the newest update of SketchBook Express, the text and transform tools are both under one icon that looks like 3 periods. Let's start by using text. Since our Drawing Lines poster has a great deal of text, I'd like you to experiment with some different fonts. Feel free to take artistic license with the colors and with the style of font that you use. I've already started the poster, and you see I've done 2 layers of text here so I get a nice shadow. And of course I used Fill Bucket to fill my background with color. Fill Bucket's in your brush editor. Right here is your Fill Bucket. When you select it, it's going to fill whatever shape that you select with that color. I'm not going to use Fill Bucket right now. I've already used it to fill my background. Let's go to Text Tool. Now I'd like to type our vertical line. Whenever you tap text, you get the last thing that you typed. In this case, I typed kids last. I'm going to X out of that. And I'm going to type in capital V-E-R-T-I-C-A-L. Now I'd like to experiment with the font. Font lets me choose a style for my letters. I want something bolder, something that I could also add a shadow to. If I select something like Arial Bold MT, I get thicker letters. Now, notice when I selected text, I get a new toolbar. All of these options are great ways to move your text around. Free lets you grab that text with 2 fingers and move it around and resize it. Since I'm drawing with the stylus though, I'm going to select Move Text. That lets me move it with 1 finger, or in this case, the stylus. We also have Rotate Text, and you have some other reflection and rotation options over here. Now, once you put it where you want and you press Done, it's there. And you've either got to paint over it or use Undo Arrow to remove it. I'm going to create another set of shadows like the ones I did at the top and show you how I did that. First of all, when I press text, I get that word vertical again. I'm going to choose that same font, Arial Bold MT, or I could go to Arial MT. Let's try that. Arial MT is just slightly thinner, and I'm going to choose a slightly lighter shade of blue. Let me move text, and I may need to change the size of it to really get the look I want. Notice that word's not quite as big because it's not boldface. So this allows me to change the size of my font, the slider right here. Of course, the color wheel allows you to change the color, and this last slider lets you change the opacity. So this is how I do the shadows for my letters. And I usually place it just a little bit above and a little bit beside to get those shadows. In this case, my shadows fall on the right-hand side of my letters. It makes it pop off the page. It makes it a little bit more interesting. And by using Move Text, it always stays parallel with the top and the bottom of the screen, lined up really nicely. When I'm done with that, I just press Done. And now I'm going to draw the line that I'm talking about here. In that case, it's the vertical line. I'm going to use marker to do this, and since we have all of these draw styles up here, I wouldn't draw a vertical line with free draw. Instead, I'm going to use Line Tool to be able to draw that line nice and straight. When you pull out Line Tool, it shows you exactly where the line is going to fall. There's my vertical line. My next line is the diagonal line. I'm trying to use my yellow. Let me use yellow, bring out our text again. I get vertical. We want to remove that and go with capital D-I-A-G-O-N-A-L. Pick a new font. How about Avenir Next Heavy? Again, move text is how I'm bringing those words around, but also keeping them parallel to the top and the bottom of my screen. Now sometimes yellow is hard to read. It's difficult to see it in the background. Let's try this. Let's do a black shadow for my yellow letters. I'm done with the placement. Text, I get it again. This time I'm going to change the color back to yellow for that word. And let's check the font. I chose Avenir Next Heavy. We go to Avenir Next Bold, which again gives me slightly smaller letters. It's one of the great things about having the heavy and the bold font choices. I'm going to have to make that word just slightly larger to spread it out and get it to fall right on the other letters. That looks great. Those shadows turned out fantastic, and now that yellow text really stands out on the page. I'm done. Again, I'm going to use line tool. I think I'm going to try the same shadows this time with my line tool. I'm still drawing with magic marker B. These are the A tools on the top row, B tools on the second row. Line tool, my diagonal line. Now let's try another one on top of it in yellow so it looks just like my text. Now when you get something that doesn't line up quite like you want, instead of erasing, these are your erasers right here, eraser A and eraser B, so much quicker and easier just to tap the undo arrow. Try drawing that line again. I want to lay it right on top of the one I had, so I just get a little shadow. I really like that. And now the yellow line stands out very well on the background. My next line is the dashed line, and we're going to use text to help us create the dashed line this time. Let me X out of that and bring in capital. Your shift arrow lets you get capital letters, D-A-S-H-E-D. Our dashed line, I'm going to choose a different font again. This is your opportunity to be creative and to have fun with your fonts. I'm going to choose Baskerville Bold, and for my next layer I'll use Baskerville Semi-Bold. Baskerville Bold, let's do green. And I'm going to choose a very dark green for the shadow this time. Move that text by selecting Move Text. That allows me to pick it up with one finger, or in this case my stylus if you're drawing with a stylus. Put it right where I like, and I'm going to use spacebar. Let me get rid of that period. Anytime you want to edit your text, just press and hold until you get that magnifying glass. Now you can back it up. And I'm going to put in my dashes with the dash. Just like that. Let me see if I can move that entire text over. I have a few too many dashes. So that makes it really easy for me to do my dashed line. In fact, let me remove some of those spaces in between my dashes and the word dashed. And again, move that text over so everything lines up. So here's a little trick. You can use your punctuation, and you can also use the symbols that you have in various text fonts. There is one right here under Baskerville that gives you nothing but symbols to use. That's a great tool. So with dashed, I'm now going to press done. I like my dashed line. Text, I get dashed again. I'm going to do a lighter color green and a slightly different font so I can use that shadow technique again that I've really enjoyed today with this project. That new font is going to be Baskerville semi-bold. Use move text to drop it in. I'm going to change the size of my font just slightly. When you're in Pages or Keynote, you can select the size of your font with a number, and that helps you do this even easier. You can use the same technique in Pages, Keynote, or any app where you type with text. I can't wait to see how you finish this. Please remember, with your zigzag line and your jagged lines, you also have line tool. With your dotted line, you could use periods to make those dots. With your wavy and bumpy lines, consider using the circle tool to help you make those curves. I can't wait to see your finished project. Don't forget to sign your name to it. I hope you enjoy it. Have a great day.